Should be live on YouTube. And okay, cool. Yeah, there it goes. It's context engineering. All right, let me lay it out. So you guys have heard of vibe coding. Context engineering is like vibe coding meets prompt engineering meets language servers that meets a file structure. It follows with a rule set that finally is able to generate code that is good, that is also checked for syntax errors, and you can feed it documentation, every one. The downside to this, where I'm like, I don't know how viable it is, not necessarily, I think it could spit out some good code, but there's two factors that I see being problematic with context engineering. The first one, I think it's going to take the prompts to like a whole new level of length. I think it's going to take a long time to arrive at the answer. I think the answer will be correct, but I think it'll take a long time to get there. Maybe several minutes per prompt. Second problem, the token generation on this is going to be through the roof. They're going to have to power up a new nuclear plant for as many tokens as we're probably going to be generating with extreme context engineering. So I don't know how viable this is, but I also wanted to do a new project called Open Code. Open Code looks really, really interesting to where I'm like, ooh, that I think is going to be better than Claude Code. And I can use my GitHub Pro subscription, which I didn't pay for, I get for free, but I want to be able to use that because I don't want to pay any money because I'm super cheap. So we're going to try that. We're going to see how all that works. I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing adventure that probably won't go anywhere, but it'll be fun. The adventure will be fun. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. Starting out, we need to install Open Code. Now, Open Code you may have heard of. I think it's made by DAX, which let me just pull up Open Code's repo. Open Code by SST. Now there's another fork of this made by Charm Bracelet. Now Charm Bracelet's one are the people that make gum and bubble tea. So for you Go programmers out there, you probably have heard of that. Charm looks a little bit better, or God, what is it called? It looks a little bit better than Open Code from a aesthetics point of view, but it doesn't have as many features. So Open Code's what we're going to be doing. But I think both are forked from the same project, so I don't understand why that is, nor do I have the history of why that is. I just know this is a pretty young project. So we're going to go Open Code-bin since we're on Arch Linux, but if you're on Mac, you can do brew. If you're just want to use npm for an install, you could do that, or if you just want to YOLO it with the curl command and fizzle it over in, you can do that as well. So that's what we're going to do. That's kind of odd. Custom install directory, xdg bin directory. I think it should install in .local bin. It shouldn't be home bin. That would be weird. Let's see. Let's get going. Alrighty. It's on version 0.5 as of today. And it's installed. Pretty small package. I'm just seeing. It installed it in USR bin. All right, good stuff. So on initial launch, you should have an agent set up. But we did not. So there's all these commands. Okay, it is able to launch into NeoVim by default. Good. If it doesn't, you have to do an export editor equals NVim or whatever editor you're using. You could probably do code if you want to do like VS Code or Codium, whatever strikes your fancy. Now, I want to say open code help. I'm going to say open code auth login. Okay, so open code auth login. It should prompt this on the initial install, but if you don't, you can use Anthropic. These are for subscription plans. So if you do have an existing subscription, Google has a subscription. Who pays for a Gemini Google subscription? Bro, I got a bridge to sell you. That is crazy. So you got OpenAI if you already pay for ChatGPT, or Anthropic, which is recommended. But we're gonna do Copilot today because I get that for free. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the authentication for that. As soon as I can. Man, GitHub. I'm just doing the login and adding it as a device really fast. All right, and we're gonna authorize it. All right, let's clear. All right, we're back. So now we've authenticated with open code, and we can come into here. Now you can see models should now be populated, and we can choose GPT-5, or we're gonna choose Sonnet 4. That's my favorite model, so I would do that. Now Sonic's a brand new open model that has some buzz right now. However, I'll let everybody else kind of tinker around with that and tell me if it's any good. So agent, we don't really have to do anything after we've done our login. So we've selected our model, we're good to go. Now you could do new session and then specify, I think, like the session name. So if you go new, no, okay. And if we go sessions, so there's no sessions here, but you could do new. I think there's also themes. Let's go with the system theme. We could go Nord, Aura, Capuchin, Cobalt, Dracula. A lot of themes. No Cyberpunk though. It's like my fave. Probably do like a Nord theme. One Dark's also pretty good. Oh, there we go. Synthwave. I kind of like Synthwave. Context encoding, aka vibe coding v2. So now the next thing is MCPs. So how do we do MCP with this? I don't know if Primogen actually had a hand in this. This would be kind of weird. I know he's kind of anti-AI, but it says the creators of Terminal.shop, and I know he's behind that. So I don't know if he actually... Who are the contributors of this project? You got Dax, Adam.Devin, J-Rec. All right. That's pretty cool. All right. Nobody else I really recognize. So, all right. Cool. I like synthwave, Dan. It can't really, yeah, mostly Atom and Dex. All right. But I really love the idea behind this. So let's go to the docs. And next up, I want to see about doing MCP servers. You can add external tools to open code using Model Context Protocol, otherwise known as MCP. Supposed to be both local and remote. They're automatically available alongside the LLM for the built-in tools. You can define MCP tools in open code config. So what does that look like? And where is this open code JSON file at? Or maybe it's like per project in like a .config file. Let's go. Let's pull up old Chatterino on here too. Skill issues, for sure. We know that. This is mostly for fun. Yeah. Gotta see where we're at with this stuff. Best MCP servers. So as far as configuring it, you can configure rules. Provide custom instructions to open code by creating an agents.markdown file. This is similar to Claude.markdown or cursor rules. It contains instructions that can be included in the LLM's context to customize its behavior for your specific project. So depending on whatever it is, you can go. To create it, you can run init command in open code. So what you do, first, let's make sure we go to something other than our root folder. Out of all these projects, what do we got? Let's remove age of Titus, remove APM. Let's go to linutil. This one right here is essentially where we're at. Well, what would, oh, did we change publish? That's right, that's right. Update, publish. Okay, cool. So we're clean here. Now we open code. So the idea is to just stay on the terminal the whole time. So we'll do an init. All right, please analyze the code base and create an agents file containing this. This would be kind of interesting to see what it creates for the init file for the rules. So it analyzes the build system, checks for existing agents, looks at the existing code, creates a comprehensive file based on your existing code. So the idea here is less hallucinations because it already sees what code's there. What I'm kind of curious about is the token generation up here at the top. I kind of want to keep an eye on that too. I think that's what the token is using, but I could be wrong. All right, now we're going to open this bad boy up and see what that is. It lives in .config open code. Really? Let's look back through. Code style guidelines, Rust edition, imports, module structure, error handling, naming, documentation, dependencies, and workspace. I'm pretty sure they would put this inside the project file itself. So let's just find out, shall we? I think it's the input. It looks like it. So 28,000 tokens just to generate the rules. Good Lord. We're going to run out of... I think we're going to burn through the free tier pretty quick. This might just be the most expensive way of doing things ever created, but we're going to find out. So let's go to linutil. It did. So it just created an agents in Markdown directly inside of here. So let's look at that agents Markdown file. Okay. So guidelines, build and testing. For the build, it does that. For the test, it does this. This is the Markdown file. And essentially the code style guidelines, it should give you these, which is fine, I guess. No cursor rules or copilot instructions found in a repository. I wonder why it puts that in there. So I guess if you already have cursor rules or copilot instructions, it would actually add those. Man, I think this is gonna get expensive. All right, so now that we got this, I need to add MCP. MCP, you don't know me. Oh man, kind of reminds me of the BGP nerd song back in the day for you network engineers out there. All right, I need to add MCP servers to OpenCode for this project. I should just say add MCP. Okay. Which MPC servers should I add? Are you looking for configure existing or create new ones? What functionality do you need MCP servers to provide this linutil project? Okay. This is a Rust-based project and uses bash scripts. Find the corresponding, I spelled corresponding wrong. MCP servers that would fit this project best. Oh, did you guys see that error? Prompt token count of 142,000 tokens exceeds the limit of 28. Oh my gosh. Dang, we're already cut short and we just started. Forget that. We're just doing little simple markdown files and it's already going over the token count for the sub model. I don't think this is going to be viable unless you're like a millionaire and you want to pay per play and you want to just use the API keys, which I'm not using an API key. It's just, it's going to get too expensive too fast. It's like easier to just learn to code at that point. Be more profitable. Yeah, there's only 26 lines of markdown. So let's try a new session. Yeah, let's try a new session. Create a MCP server config for OpenCode that can use I do like the bottom right here at the bottom. It shows the project that you're in. So that can filter, not filter, but that can do Rust and Bash scripts. All right, let's see if we can get this one going. All right, we tried a new one. How are we doing on our tokens? Okay, so the token count right up here, once this hits 128,000 tokens, it's gonna bomb. It's gonna just kill us. I think it's limitations due to the subscription model that it's Copilot Pro, but I get it for free for a lot of my online repos, so it should be fine. Okay. So here's this Bash language server, file types. Okay. So it reads this. We're going to create an MCP server config file for OpenCode that supports both Rust development and Bash scripting for this linutil project. Write the mcp-config.json. Okay. There's that. It created. Perfect. Task definitions for common operations. Workspace configuring matching your cargo.toml. Enter, okay, environment setup for both languages. This config is tailored for this. So did it load it? Hey, Buddha, good morning. So let's see how this created it. So let's look at the context here. So you got the agents markdown, and then you have mcp-config. I don't really like how it's just in the root of this project. So you have mcp-config and then the agents. How is this loaded in OpenCore? Explain how. Explain OpenCode, MCP, and agents. .markdown load structure. Can we move these files inside a dot folder? Dot folder for OpenCode. Just don't like how it's kind of scattered in the root. Loaded from project root. MCP is loaded for root. You could create an OpenCode directory, move the config files into the OpenCode directory. So I would like the agents and the MCP to go into there. Yeah. So it does look like it does have the .opencode folder. We can do that to keep the project clean and group all OpenCode configuration. Standard convention for tooling. Prevents accidental commits to main project. And what each file provides. So the agents right here, this gives some context. Build, test, lint commands for the AI agent. Code style guidelines and conventions. Project structure and documentation. So like yesterday, or well, it was a couple days back, we were trying to do GIMP scripts and it kept bombing out. I kept having to feed it the documentation over and over and over again. I was like, this is stupid. This is taking forever. And I just was not liking it. So for the subscription plan up here, I kind of have to keep an eye on the token generation. Need to keep this under 128,000. And when this gets too high, you have to do a new session. Now, if we go sessions, so here's the sessions. It does go ahead and automatically name each session that you create. And you can also rename them here and switch between them. The sessions cannot go over that token generation amount unless you pay just ungodly amounts of money, which I'm not going to do. It's kind of cool. And then we got MCP configuration. Essentially, this is the language server configurations, Rust analyzer, Bash language server, tool integrations like Cargo and Shell check. This just makes sure it's checking the stuff and not feeding you bad syntax. So with the context generation, this should essentially make it not hallucinate because you're giving specific language rules and documentation. So it should actually read the API and not just be like, yeah, I read it. Wink, wink. And then it will also feed in the language server stuff. I mean, that's pretty, I mean, if it actually does it, that's pretty clutch, right? So now let's look and verify that. So you can see agents is gone. We have that. And if we look at the open core, you now have the agents and MC config in that file. Open code config. And we'll just write those directly to the project. That's kind of cool. So let's check in with chat real fast. We actually are looking pretty good. I think I got kind of the basis and tooling that can make this happen. Has anybody used OpenCode? I see one person here has. But giving better context is there. So we configured that. So can you configure NeoVim to work with MCP? What is NeoVim already has the language servers and stuff in it. I don't know why we would want extra configuration for the MCP, but I think we want to do it per project. Essentially is how I'm thinking about it. And like the cool, like we're still in kind of like the discovery phase here. So I think the future looks like this. You find like a model. I see a future where an open source model becomes like really good at code, especially when you feed it context. And also that's when I might spend, $4,000 or $5,000, build out a box with a whole bunch of graphics cards, maybe like A6000s or whatever it is at the time, and then go all in on it. Then that way you're not continually just spitting out money to keep going. And that way you can sit here and just go to your heart's content with good context and actually produce code without having a subscription service or going out to the cloud or any of that business. That's not today though. We still don't have like a really great open source model for coding. Right now, I think Sonnet 4 is probably the best, and it's what I use all the time. But most of the other models I see, like even GPT-4, which to run that locally would be insane, or even GPT-5, which I think GPT-5 Mini might be open. I don't know. We're still in kind of like the early phases of feeling out that. Once we get like a really good open source model that can be run locally with not like a super high investment, that's when I'll probably go all in with some like local infrastructure and then just completely ditch all these plans. Because I think the whole subscribing and then paying like $20 or whatever, there's never going to be an unlimited plan that'll be able to do everything we want. Eventually you're going to have to probably run something local, so that way you're never like hamstringed, because these models right now are just running at massive loss. It's all subsidized through investment and VC funding. So I'm going to burn through all these rich people's money, and then once the free lunch is over, that's when we move to what I'm talking about now. So that's how I kind of see the future going here. If it is a viable solution, we still don't know if it is. And Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But so far I'm digging open code. Yeah, so this is all free and open source, Alex. Almost everything I do on this channel is free and open source. So it's just learning it. I really like free and open source software a lot, and just trying to make it a little bit easier. Yeah, the thing that's cool about open source is right now it does tie in to where you don't have to do API usage keys. So the cool thing about OpenCode, when you do an auth login, which let's exit. If you do OpenCode auth login like that, you can actually select your service that you subscribe to, and then you can go crazy for a good bit here. They're going to eventually shut all this down, I'm sure, and then be like, hey, you have to do pay to play, so to speak. I think Theo did a really good video where he explained how fast these guys are just burning through money and tokens. And Claude tried to do like an unlimited model, and then someone managed to burn, I think it was $50,000 on the max plan, which was like $200 a month. But they spent, I think, $50,000 worth of tokens, which essentially is, that's how much it costs to just run that per one user's requests. So this right now is, hey, just use the subscription service. Don't build out anything. It's still too early days for that. Let's burn through some of that VC money, and then we go to something different. Right. So it's very much like the Uber model. You remember how Uber was really good and really cheap car? You could just go anywhere, and it was like $10 to go from the airport to your house, and the drivers were getting paid decent. But now, like, you go on an Uber, and it's like, ugh, a little bit dicey. And it's because the drivers aren't getting paid anything. And then the cost has gone up 2 or 3x for a worse experience. That's because the VC funding, Uber went public, I think, like 2 years ago or something. And as soon as that happened, they had to turn profits. They could no longer just burn VC money. So that's the ebb and flow of modern business. And what you do is, as soon as you get all that VC money, we're just going to burn through it. But we need to recognize that this is not long-term viable. Meaning you can't just subscribe to Cursor. You can't just subscribe to Anthropic. You can't just subscribe to old OpenAI and expect it not to change. We're going to use them right now. And then as soon as they flip the script, go public, or try to run off all the competition using like the Walmart model, then that's when you spin up something local or go away from it. So it's really important to support the open source developments as they come through here during this discovery phase, and burn through all the VC money while it's still available. But no, you cannot stay on any of these monthly plans for the next couple of years. That's the fallacy I think most people don't see, and it's something that you need to be aware of. We have Sonic available. We can try it out. So let's see what we got. All right. So I think the project I want to see the most, GIMP Help. So GIMP Help, we were having massive issues with. Let's create open core, open code. Sorry, not open core. We're not creating a, sorry, I was going Mac API there for a minute. So this would be, let's create a agents.markdown file in .open code directory, and set up context for set up rules for GIMP scripting using the official GIMP API at. So let's actually use the context engineering. So we're gonna go developers dot GIMP. Perfect. So let's go core development. And what do we use? Where's the resources here? API references. GIMP API. Here we go. GIMP 3. Perfect. So right here. And if any old GIMP v2 exists, conversion to v3 rules are here. So then we go GIMP v2 to v3 conversion. Yeah, we had something a little bit more. There was a guide for this. No, that's dialect. Let's just check our history. Let's go GIMP. And then we go v3. Still don't see anything here. Wait. Here we go. Yep. Here we go. This is exactly what I need. This was the script foo changes. Let's close that. Boom. So then we're feeding it some documentation. Yeah, open code is essentially just like Claude Code, except more universal. You can use pretty much anything and everything. So right now I'm using Sonnet 4, using a GitHub Copilot subscription. We're at 60,000 tokens. Morning, Andrew. How you doing? Okay, we're getting close to the 128 cutoff. We're at 109,000 tokens right now. It looks like it's there. So let's verify that. Open code. So here is the context we've given it. Let's read through. And API conversion, GIMP v3 uses libgimp 3.0. API changes from v2. Key API components are this. Procedural types. Conversion rules. And then it broke down that web page to get rid of SF value, and it should be replaced with SF adjustment. Also, removal of all floating point values. Essentially, you can't do floating anymore in GIMP v3. We're feeding it new registration functions. So the whole script foo register procedure is now script foo register filters, where it used to just, I think it used to be just script foo register. So that was changed. Multi-layer compatibility, handle draw vectors. All right. And then replace true false values with, I think it's like pound T and pound F. Also, there should be a rule about cars for comparison. I don't see that in here. We might need to look at that. All right, PDP API values. Man, this is a pretty large rules thing that it created. Resource management, undo groups, process reporting, migration checklist. So you can add specific checklists that it goes through when using this. Okay. So before we were having massive issues with this. So since we're close to the token count in the top right, we need to go with a new session. We're still in GIMP help. Now, what does the, let's go back. And let's go into plugins, save as JPEG. What does this look like? Oh, okay, yeah. So this is never, this, I think we got it kind of working, but it's, yeah, this is all broken and messed up. Let's feed that context to there though. Let's see what it can do. This would be a great test for context engineering. Because we had, dude, we worked on this for hours trying to prompt our way through it. It just wouldn't. So if we could feed update and simplify saving to JPEG without user prompts for the 3 underscore, what was that? Save as JPEG.scm file. We're just gonna go save as JPEG. It's JPEG. Plugin. Wrapped SCM file. I was hallucinating after that a couple of hours. So this is a very like new frontier. Why I'm using GIMP 3.0 is almost no one in the world has created GIMP 3 things. There's not a very good host of examples of GIMP 3 because it just released this year. And there's like 15 years of GIMP 2, which essentially is all broken now. Like none of the functions are there. All the function names have changed. There's almost no context to grab a hold of. So what has to happen here to make this work, and why it's so hard for especially LLMs, is there's no, almost all the examples in history are bad. So it has to essentially make new ones using these rule sets we've given it and said, hey, here's the checklist of all the things that needs to happen, and here's all the documentation. Fix it. I don't think it can do this. But let's just see. I'm kind of worried about the token count, to be honest with you. I think we're going to blow this up. Why is GIMP changing everything and wasting our time? You know, Odie, this is a good question. Right now, I'm just treating it as an opportunity to really stretch the legs of this and see how good we can make the documentation. If we can get this working right, just think about something that's well documented, that has great examples, that has great context we can refer to. Man, Sky's the limit. So if we can get something broken and jank like GIMP 3 working, shoot. You know, Bob is your mother's brother. At that point, we can just, anything's possible. You know, it'd be pretty neat. All right, here we go. The initial comes through. Now it should be cleaning up and deleting a ton of stuff. So it says it's completed and updated the SEM file with the one remove test code, ensuring GIMP 3.0 compatibility, runs in non-active mode, so no prompting, smart file name handling. We only used 45,000 tokens, which is way less than I thought. I'm pretty sure this is not going to work. Optimize settings and a clean workflow. Now, what did it give us? Well, essentially, it deleted the entire file. But I don't think that's right, actually. All right, let's so I want to try the editor command now. So let's open this in editor. Nah, I didn't do it. So how the hell does the editor command work in here? Files changed to disk. Okay. Ah, okay. So it's close, but it does look like it works. I'm just going to keep an extra window open. To me, I like this method better. I know a lot of people love to kind of like keep everything in one window, but I really like just kind of having workspace 2 being the actual in NeoVim config of everything we're looking at, and then workspace 3 being the actual prompts and everything that we're working off of. So let's first delete V2 at the bottom. That's stupid. And then let's look over the code. Very much, way more concise. So far it looks great. Main issue is car can't be used in V3. Update this code. Car and related list functions aren't available in GIMP 3 script-foo v3. Let me update the code to the proper v3 syntax. So we knew that because of the hours we spent actually fixing the code. But we could take one look at the code and go, you know what, that actually looks pretty good, except it's using some old syntax. Okay, now that looks a lot better. And when we look at this, GIMP edit named copy visible. The new function names for GIMP v3 are made by a crazy person. So going from GIMP image flattened to like GIMP edit named copy visible sounds about right. I know that doesn't sound like it would be that, but let's check these new calls. So GIMP edit named is used a bunch, and then GIMP image, I want to double check versus the actual dev API. So let's go GIMP underscore image. And what was the image base? Okay. Base. So get base type should be what is there. And this is just base type. So this is incorrect. All right, let's look at GIMP image flatten and GIMP edit named. We're gonna run out of tokens probably, but let's see how far this goes. Check functions with okay, it did see that. It didn't add car back in, which is good. Get base type did get fixed. Let's see if we can't spot more errors to feed it. We're getting, we're at 70,000 tokens right now. Okay, great. Still is removing those car calls, which is good. Next, I want to check GIMP edit named and see how this is. Also double check GIMP image flatten. So let's try GIMP edit named. GIMP underscore edit named. Now we have copy visible and paste as new image. Paste as new image is there and copy visible is there. Okay, great. So those are valid. GIMP image flatten, I'm going to double check. I know that this seems crazy, but that's also tracking. Great, so it's not just hallucinating functions anymore. GIMP image get file. What about this file get path? File get path. Is that a... All we have is the git config path. Unexpands file path using GIMP config path. Unexpands and returns the unexpected. See, the config path I don't think is what we need. So I think that will still fail. It's just bad documentation here. I don't think there's actually a git path function in GIMP 3. So I think they just missed it. So it's kind of the same error we were running into the other day. Let's run this and just see what it does, though. I imagine it'll still bomb out, but man, it would be cool. It'll be under file save, save as JPEG. Quick. All right. Yeah, at least it looks good. The code looks a lot better, a lot cleaner, and not just completely going out in left field. So while I don't think this will work, I think it's a good test. So we go file. Yeah, there's no export here. And we don't have like a save as JPEG. Well, that's just unfortunate, isn't it? This isn't showing in file. How is that specified? File save, okay. File save. We might need to change this to export. Let's double check. Did I close GIMP? Dang it. Why did I close GIMP? So saves right here. It's not really a valid thing. Now we could do like export. But instead of doing that, let's just go. It's JPEG. Base object in file menu. File dash save as JPEG. Let's see how that works. Yeah, save as is an existing function, so I don't think it's overriding a base function that's already there. Try the new one, Sonic. We can try it. So this right here is essentially what I want. It looks like it's saving. Great. So then if we look back here, save as JPEG, which I don't see. Let's just quit and reload just to make sure. And still not there. Still not showing in file menu. All right. Now, if we look at the file itself, we should have, yeah, we still have the shebang at the start, so it should register as a plugin and then live reload. Interesting. Yeah, adding the script foo use v2 doesn't make any damn sense. So let's see if it catches that. Well, that's just wrong. GIMP 3 specific syntax. Simplified structure following the exact pattern. So let's look at what it did. It did add that. Oh, dude. What? All right. Did it change? It did add it. Okay, so it added it to the scripts menu down here. It essentially just abandoned it and said, hey, let's just try to add it as a script right here. Didn't add v2 down here. So maybe it's just saying, hey, this needs to be a script, not a plugin, because of how it interacts with the program itself. I mean, could be right. Let's clean this up. So looking at that, let's go plugins. Let's remove 3, save. And let's remove 2010, remove that. Now, if we look at scripts here, CD scripts, let's remove 2010, save as JPEG. And we're going to remove these guys. All right, great. So, these GIMP scripts here should have, you know what? This didn't grab the old 210 scripts I had. Not that it matters. Sonic is good with code. Quick. Okay. Let's try it. I'm using Stream Beats, Alex, for the music. Yeah, Starship all the way. I remember back in the day, I used to use my own. There was like the power level schemes you could use, and but Starship just made everything so much easier. So yeah, I think we're beyond the point of no return here. Okay. Scripts is still there. So I've kind of got this new play. I think I'll probably just do an article on this one. I won't do a video. But what I'll end up doing, I found like this really convenient shortcut, especially when trying like stuff like this live from a GitHub project. A lot of times I do symlinks, and I was like, man, this really sucks. Like the copying pasting was just taking forever, and I just wasn't digging it. So we're gonna take the existing scripts, dump it in the trash, right? And I want to take the scripts plugin here and then just symlink it to the config. And then that way when GIMP loads, it's always loading the active thing that's been edited from my actual GitHub here. This GIMP help GitHub project. So the easy way to do that is a ln symbolic link. And what I like to do is I want to symlink the scripts folder. So I'm going inside the scripts folder, and then I do the symbolic link, and then I go $, parentheses, open, pwd, which is the path. And what this does is it formulates the whole path for me, and then we can specify exactly where this is going. So we're going to go home, Titus, .config, GIMP, 3, and then we're going to call it scripts. Just like this. So it's going to take our existing scripts from this GitHub, fill out the entire path name, and then drop it right there. So then if we look back at that LL scripts, you'll notice it's perfectly symlinked every time. And there wasn't like a whole bunch of copying back and forth to set up that symlink. Makes things just so much easier. Anyways. Starship theme. I can't remember which one it's been. It's been several years now, bud. It should be on the My Bash GitHub repo that I have. So then we got that, and then there should be like a file save as JPEG. Oh. Okay. So we got us a crash. Seg fault. Sad face. Seg faulted it. All right, this is probably gonna blow up. We're so close to the token count. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have an issue. But let's see. Okay. It says it just converted what it needed. So if we look, save as JPEG. This is going to add the car and some of the old ones back in, and we shouldn't have the V3 configuration. I think we still need to set V2 then. But let's see. Yeah, so then you got this. Now this is very similar. Same errors we were getting back in the day. So we'll paste that in. And then if we look at the changes, one thing I'm not liking about open code is I really wish it gave, hey, here's the exact changes made, where you should have like what's being deleted in red, what's being added in green, but I don't really see that here. I wonder why. I don't see anything wrong with this though. Well, let's just keep trying. Reload. Since it's an SCM file now, we have to reload each time. If it was a plugin filter, we got to the point where that worked too. So I was like, oh, that's cool. All right, Control C. We're at 88,000 tokens. $90,000 tokens. All right, clean that up. Close and reopen. Use V2 at the script and use V2 instead of V3. I don't think so, Dath, because in GIMP 3, a lot of the functions have been deleted. So while you can use some compatibility features, it's essentially kind of worthless because you still have to do a lot of the conversion to V3. I don't know why they chose to do it that way, at least from my understanding. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Skill issue. G get file path, that's not valid. All right. Yeah, I mean, V3 was just such a massive rewrite of almost every internal variable and function, and just like so much was changed in GIMP that essentially any old script is eventually just dead. There's no compatibility. Yeah. Should be non-interactive. Just save to the folder under the same file name with a JPEG extension. This is an export function. Let's see if it can find it. There we go. So get UTF name is fine. Boom. In the current directory, great. Duplicates image, all that's fine. So again, I really want to see what's being changed. to look back through and go, oh yeah, that's completely different. But anywho, beggars can't be choosers. So smack our head up against the wall until we get it. Getting better. The errors keep changing, which is good. All right. Well, so the naming rules should already have the doc, and if we do a new session, it's going to lose the context of this session. So what it's doing now is adding car back in right here. I don't think that's going to work, but you never know. You never know. We're getting close to the ceiling though. 120, I think it was 128 is the ceiling. So file name, get UTF name. If we look over here, GIMP file UTF name. Let's give it a little more context. So function name is not wrong, actually. You can see the function name's right here. So can we stop it? Escape, escape. Okay. Here is context. Let's see if we can get it now. File get UTF name. I think we have to use GIMP in front of it, right? Maybe not though. Yeah, man, I'm having a fun time. Having a fun time with this. All right. Let's launch it. Test. File. Save. Yeah, see? It should be GIMP file name, I think. Let's see if it can catch that. So if we look here, what I anticipate this right here to be changed to GIMP-file name. I still need to look, why is OpenCode not showing changes? I kind of want to finish out this session maxing out the token count. GIMP image get file. Really? There's also a cool little share function. So if I wanted to give it to chat and then someone in chat work on it at the same time as me, I don't know how that would work, but it'd be kind of interesting. We might try that out too. So when we look at it, get basic, that's fine. GIMP get file UTF name, that looks correct. And GIMP image get file. That all looks good actually. This is silly. I've spent so many days on this, but I don't care. God. Execution unbound variable. So if we look, it just has file right here for get UTF-8 name. This function works, returns a UTF-8 encoded string that does not need to be freed. Converts gfile's path or UI to UTF-8 temporarily. The return value is a pointer to a string that is guaranteed to be valid only during the current iteration of the main loop. The only purpose of the function to provide an easy way to pass gfile's name to a function that expects a UTF encoded string. So I think we're using this incorrectly, of course. So file path, UTF, current file. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, anywho. I don't think this is going to work at all. What's Batcher? Batch processing bundlers for GIMP 3. Oh, okay. This looks neat. What's he using? I bet he uses Python or something for this. I do like the batch convert, though. That's kind of cool. Batcher. Convert image files from any file format provided by GIMP and third-party programs. Export images opened in GIMP. It's been updated very recently. It looks like GIMP. So if we go into Batcher right here, Python. Yeah. When he's doing Python, I bet if I had to take a guess, he'd use ImageMagick K. I think that's really the way to go about this. Is just ImageMagick K, take it outside of GIMP, and then put it where you need, and just say screw the built-in functions of GIMP, because they're just awful. Same with its documentation. I think the documentation's wrong too. So it's exporting images. You can do it for free, Alex. I think if you're going to use it for free, you can use probably like Gemini, I think is a one that has like a free tier that has a subscription kind of thing. But you can do OpenAI, you can do Anthropic, whatever you have already from a subscription standpoint. OpenCode essentially will log in and use whatever you got going on, which is pretty cool. How's it saving though? It's kind of cool. Wow. It does have some integration directly in, so it just doesn't run over and do it per se. But yeah, I was just thinking to myself, since GIMP does accept Python code, which is pretty awesome, just do it in Python and call it a day. And that would be cool. So if you look at the source, I mean, this guy put in some work here. Damn. Let's save that. I'll come back to that. I think that's the way to go. I just wanted it to be like this simple, elegant script to where it's only just, 50 lines of code or so. And then it just automatically save it as a JPEG. Because there's no reason like this shouldn't work, because in V2 it did work. So skill issue, I suppose, but they just changed so much of everything that just making a simple save as JPEG script is either broken or just far beyond what's capable right now. And I think in time someone will figure it out. Someone apparently is probably not going to be me though. All right, let's update this. Update. We're gonna go ahead and push it. Batcher is probably what I'd use right now. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, the auth login for OpenCode was pretty legit. Write that to AI. I just want 50 lines of code. Simple script. I think probably, Joan, the easiest way to do this is just say, to take it outside of GIMP and just be like, hey, just make it a Python script. They've just changed and screwed up so much stuff within the actual GIMP scripting language that we're gonna need more context, and it just doesn't exist. So I think the easiest way to do it is just to toss all the GIMP script in the trash and then just do it in Python, because that's just easy. And that would be the solution. I don't want that solution. I'm just being stubborn here and wanting to do it in GIMP script foo v3 language that's just completely revamped, that has no examples anywhere to be found, not even on the official website. So it's just like, eh. Well, I mean, we have a couple examples. We created 2 working script foo 3 plugins, so we got that going for us. And those are honestly the 2 plugins we did get working in v3 script foo. They're fantastic. Yeah, Python's relatively easy. Anybody can kind of get it to work. I mean, Python's like a one shoe fits all for everything. It's not efficient, it's slow, but if it works, and Python usually always, I mean, I've never had an issue where I'm like, oh, it's usually like, Python's usually my like, well, shit, I guess we'll just write it in Python and be done with it. And that's kind of like the fallback. That's what Python is. It's just like this one size fits all, slow, a little cumbersome. I hate how the code looks, but it works. And that's what, at the end of the day, that all that matters. So usually when I'm just getting completely broken down or just beaten by a certain thing like this, that's when you're just like, screw it, we're just gonna do it in Python. Oh, you want to see Python? All right, now we've said that, I guess we should. And frankly, I don't even think we need to do Batcher for this. Python, I think, will just plug right in. This isn't working at all. Let's move it to plugins, rewrite the entire script using Python instead. You're absolutely right. We're gonna run out of tokens, I bet you. Let's see. I probably should do a new session for this, but let's see. Now the cool thing, if you notice, it's popping the errors and doing some of the checking here because we have those MCPs. So where did it put it? All right. I'm a little skeptical. Let's look at our structure. So under scripts, there's nothing. Under this, we now have a save as JPEG Python file. So we have the shebang here. You have all of this. I think you have to do a subfolder and then you wrap whatever files in there. Now that's how we did it with SCM files here. So if you look, that's the SCM file. This is just a Python file sitting in the root of plugins, which I don't think works. Let's just double check. If you look at like Batcher and how it installs, this would tell us. See Batcher and then Batcher.p1. See, this is wrong. The Python script needs to be inside a folder of the same name under plugins. So save as JPEG, plugins, and then move the Python file inside. Now the plugin should appear under file save as and work interactively. Now let's try it. I doubt we can do a one shot on this. This is probably going to take some iterations. Yeah, so didn't even show in the file save as menu. Not showing up in file menu. Check API documentation. Since we have the rule set, it should automatically go through the documentation based on the rules we've already given it. But let's see. This would be kind of amazing if we got it working like this. That's why I'm kind of like, instead of like, we could already take Batcher and give it and feed it and then have it from that context. But I kind of want to see if it can create it directly from the official API documentation without having the Batcher context. We're well over 150,000 tokens now. It's kind of impressive. So the percentage sign up there, is that premium limits on the subscription? I think it is. So we started the stream out around 30%, and we're already up to 40% of the premium usage in just an hour or two using context engineering. 1 second. I'm going to log in and I want to see if I'm at 76% usage of premium, because that's the other question here. Because if that's the case, that's going to get expensive for folks. So let's go. Your Copilot. Looks like there's a display in usage. Let's see if there's anything in here I can't show. It's fine. Looks fine. So right now it says 38% of premium requests. However, a delay in displayed usage percentage. This is where Anthropic does a great job. When I gave it like $5 or $10 just to kind of see how much it used the API keys and how fast it burned through it, I'm a little sus on what Microsoft's doing here with GitHub Copilot. I think there's no reason why there should be a delay. So I'm kind of like, I know this shouldn't be 38%. And I suspect the open code is pulling the actual number, and we're at probably 70 something percent, where we started at like the mid 30s when we started this adventure. But if we burn through all the premium requests, we burn through them. We just need to know. Batcher docs installation. Yeah, we'll see. We might, but I kind of just want to know, how's this going? So you download the latest release, probably drop it in the configs plugin folder. Yep, find out where it is. Plugins, Bachelor. Yeah, it's exactly how I thought the installation would go. Yep, we are doing it correctly. The tokens reset every 30 days. So every 30 days, your premium requests get set up. So how subscriptions work, and I think the AI models right now are purposely making this confusing, because they say each premium request uses, there's a multiplier associated with some of them. So some of the requests, if you use a cheaper model, it's a lower multiplier. If you use a really expensive model, like a thinking model, usually it'll be a 2 or 3 or 4x multiplier. What this means is it burns through the requests earlier, and it's purposely obfuscated from the end user, so you won't know how much money you're spending for the most part. Now, the cool thing about Claude Code, and why I love Anthropic and why I think it's by far the best model, is you know immediately, I spent 37 cents on this request. That's where Claude Code is just phenomenal. Where these other unlimited subscription service, I feel like they're a better deal right now as they're burning through their VC money, but everything's really obfuscated, so you don't really know, and they don't really want to tell you, hey, Titus, you just spent like $100. We got to cut you off, but we're going to just make them like these requests and different things. I can see how many tokens I'm using, and I know kind of, hey, when I'm using Anthropic's Claude Code, I know right now I would be probably around $12 to $15 worth of usage. Right in there, I've used it enough to where I'm like, that's how much this right here probably would run me. Maybe not that much, but it depending on how these requests are working, I think with context engineering, it uses a crap ton more tokens. So what used to take when you were just doing straight prompts and just be like, hey, here's a website, here's some of the context, go. And that's just prompting, right? But now when you have the rule files, it reads all the rule files. It checks to see if you have any syntax problems with your MCP. And then by going back and forth, it seems like it just uses a lot more tokens for that. And that's going to burn way more money. But you should get a better result, so less prompting, and you get there faster. In theory. But that's why we're doing it today. Just kind of exploration. $12 of nothing done is bad. It's fair. But let's say you're developing something. That $12 could have been thousands of dollars. I'm playing devil's advocate here, so please don't burn me at the stake. But to be devil's advocate here, if you paid a programmer to do, all the development or behind like a plugin such as this, obviously no one's going to do that for GIMP, but let's just pretend in a fairy tale world that existed, you probably would spend a couple $100 doing that. And then they'd make it. It probably would take them, for someone that knows what they're doing, like let's say you contacted an actual GIMP 3.0 developer. Essentially, I think it's just one guy somewhere in the world. Let's say you found that one guy and you're able to pay him some money to do the script. That's probably the actually hardest part of it. It would probably be a better script. It would be well done. It would be fast. But I don't know. I think the bigger problem there is not so much from a money perspective. It's just finding that person that can do the thing. If that person's not you, that is. So I see a world where it's both. Yeah, T3 Chat gives you, almost every subscription service will give you premium and regular tokens, which is kind of cool. T3 Chat's Theo's front end. So he still has to pay all this stuff too. And obviously he has to make money doing it. So it still has to be profitable. So there has to be an upcharge. So it just depends on what rates he's able to negotiate behind the scenes and how big of a user base he has to get discounts from Anthropic or from OpenAI or, you know, all the places. So it's an interesting business model, what we're going through. I think it's going to be a neat tool in the future, especially with context engineering. But I don't know if it makes any physical sense. Like from a business perspective, I don't know if it actually makes any money in the in game. I feel like it's just like a race to the bottom. And are we going to get a usable product at the end? Much like Duo said, I don't know. What's up, unemployed guy? Getting an experienced person is going to be expensive. And if you have no time to learn something that's a one use only, it might be worth prompting your way through, especially for something like GIMP 3.0. Like the last script I made, I hacked together through Stack Overflow and I think GitHub examples. So my scripts I have here that we've converted to V3 were just essentially the old way of doing things was me hacking it together, because obviously I'm not going to pay someone to do that. That just seems silly. And right now there's not enough examples to actually do everything I'm talking about. So I'm thankful for LLMs, but at the same time, this is taking a lot longer with LLMs than it was with Stack Overflow and existing projects and examples where I kind of was able to manipulate to my needs. So I'm trying to think of a way in the world. There's just so much hype around it to where it's like, it's hard to differentiate real use case from this weird hype, like it's going to change the world kind of speak. And then there's also the programmers that feel threatened. So of course they're like, AI is just stupid. All LLMs are just autocorrect that always gets everything wrong. It's really kind of like this in between where there's some use cases for it. And I think if you give it enough context, that can work. But it's not to a degree, and nor will I ever think it's to a degree it'll ever even get anywhere close to where like you get the AI bro hype. So it's somewhere this in between that I think no one's talking about. There's the guys that like, hey, you just feed it everything here, do this, it'll use a gajillion tokens and you'll be out $1,000, but my God, you'll have a working program. I don't see that being a thing. However, if you have some competency and you're able to review code and see, okay, well, here's the changes from this API from V2 to V3, we need to be looking out for this, and then we can kind of guide the LLM to get to a working product where I don't have to actually know the language, but I need to know enough about programming to do it. That person, which is a very niche person, probably myself would be in this group, will benefit from this. But it really depends on what that project is. Let's say I wanted to build, let's take some of the AI bro hype and say, let's say I wanted to build a massive multiplayer online game with LLMs and be like, I'm going to just invite Twitch chat. We're going to all do it. We're going to do a full stack. We're going to do the graphic design. Everything's going to be AI. That's never going to happen. There's just no way. There's no possible way that's ever going to be reality. So let's just dystopia that. But getting it with enough context to build scripts, to do more simplistic programs where you understand, hey, here's where the actual API documentation is, and you understand enough competency behind it to where you can get through, you're going to be able to do more things than you were in the past. but it's a very small percentage of the population that this is actually we're speaking to. I think a lot of people that if what I'm doing today, you're like, this seems like black magic. AI is not going to help you guys. I mean, maybe it'll help you write a paper or cheat on a test and other things like that. But as far as programming or you making your own vibe code in your own program, it's just always going to end in disaster. I just don't ever see that not being a thing. You got to have some basic level of competency. Not a lot of competency, but enough. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's just, there's just so much to it. And I understand a little bit. So I always say I'm not a programmer, but I understand some programming. I think it's really important to kind of to understand where we're at and where we're going. It's not worthless, but also at the same time, it's not the savior of humanity, and it's not going to cause people with no programming knowledge to be able to program all of a sudden. They're going to be able to vibe some stuff out, but it's going to be buggy. You got to have some kind of development experience, just something. You got to have some programming expertise. You got to know what like a for while loop is. You got to understand variables. You got to understand, okay, here's a function. Here's these calls. What's that going to go through? Oh, we're referencing libraries. Where are those libraries? Where's the documentation? Is that a valid function that it's calling because you added this library? You need to understand these really basic concepts to be able to do it and see what's being spit out. And you got to have some level of competency there, which is not a lot. I think those are very basic concepts. I think anybody that's interested in programming can know that pretty quick. But again, that's less than probably a couple % of the population that this actually fits into. They're great tools, though. And that's kind of where I see it. Yeah, and I think like true vibe coding's probably not a thing. And I think that vibe coding is just an overused term. But I think with enough context and some base knowledge, you're going to be able to do things you used to not be able to do. That's something that I think programmers aren't talking about. Many programmers just like to shit on AI and go, oh, well, I'm a programmer. I don't need AI. It's worthless, blah, blah, blah. And they throw it away. I think that's a mistake. They're great tools and they can teach a lot. And that's where I think many programmers are really falling down or missing the point of. Many people can't just read a giant novel and immediately absorb all the information and all the different nuances from languages. And having AI there to where you can just ask it and be like, damn it, I know there's a call to do this thing. Can you tell me what that is and what library I might need or what my options are? And then it spits that out and be like, oh, okay, well, this option looks interesting. Tell me more about that and the libraries associated with it. What I just described saves hours of time, and it's massive, massive for all programmers. That is where we're headed. That is the beauty of it all. That's what everyone's missing. That's just kind of sticking their head in the sand and going, no, AI is terrible. It's never going to do anything. Nah, it's not true. But at the same token, it's not the savior. It's not just like this hype where you just, hey, one-shot me a program. There's a good in-between here. I'm sorry. I'm just like, just totally mansplaining this now at this point. Yeah, there are people that are like this, Rux, that remembers everything word for word from every book he's read. That person does exist. I've met them in real life. They are geniuses. And I don't know how your stepdad was, but a lot of these geniuses I've met in real life, the one downfall for many of them is some of them just are lazy or they don't want to put in the work. And I'm able to get past them or succeed more than they do because they just won't do what I'll do. I will sit there and smash my head against a wall until the wall finally caves. That's just me. And that's not a normal thing. I'm a little sick in the head. but that determination is my superpower. I cannot remember everything word for word. I pick up little things here and there, but I'll just do it enough until I finally am able to get past it. And that is what I'm really good at. And that's not like a skill. That's like, oh, it's just pure stubbornness. Is the commandlet issue in WinUtil solved now? I think so, Christoph. I think we did a PR to fix that. I bet Chris has a pile of broken bricks somewhere. Probably. Like my favorite workouts are the ones where you just do the same thing over and over and over and over again. That's like the best until you just break. Like they're just mentally exhausting. Like one of my favorite workouts, just from to take it outside the programming sphere, is Murph, which is based on a soldier here in America that passed away, and they do this workout to honor this guy every Memorial Day, and it's the most mundane, just beat down of a workout, and it's so simple. All you do is run 1 mile, you do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then do another mile. Very simple to explain, and you can do that weighted with a weighted vest, usually about 20 pounds. It sucks. It's just like this grindy, simple workout, but it's one of my favorite workouts to ever do. And I love it. I don't know why. I'm just a little sick in the head. He's getting about the commandlet. Oh, I don't know what's causing this coding. We probably need to take a look at that. On the next stream, we should probably do that. Or maybe this stream. People always assume AI will exponentially get better and better, but I think we're starting to see how we are almost approaching diminishing returns, especially with data, new AI to be trained and based on previous AI. Yeah. So there's two things I see with AI and the exponentiality not being a thing. That no one really, I haven't seen anybody actually talk about this. Like I just said, I don't want to diminish, I don't want to say AI is worthless. It's not. We've already established that based on all these streams we've done, but it's not the hype that it's going to be. And there's two things why I don't think it'll get exponentially better. Two massive problems I see. One, the very first problem is LLMs or large language models need more data. Damn things have almost ingested the entire internet. They are running out of data to get better. So that's the issue number one. And a lot of the data it's getting now is just AI regurgitated slop that gets ingested back in. So we're getting like a feedback loop that's not good here with that. So one, I think there's instances where AI has actually gotten worse in some scenarios because of this feedback loop that I just talked about. We're not getting any really good data. It's already ingested all of Stack Overflow. It's always ingested all these other things that other people have already created. And now we're starting to get to the point where it's starting to ingest itself or output from itself. So that's a big problem. So number one, data. That's the big issue. Number two issue that we're running into that prevents or is just prohibitive of exponential growth is power. We're running out of power to feed these things. They're extremely energy hungry. There's all these power issues around the world. Well, AI has not done anything for that. It has made this way worse. Talk about exponentially worse. AI has very, very power hungry. So much they've brought back. I think they've brought on like 2 or 3 new nuclear plants to just power frickin' data centers that are just doing AI type crap. So very power hungry. We're kind of need a huge breakthrough in power. Not to say that's not around the corner. Like maybe there's fusion power around the corner. Maybe they find a way to do nuclear energy much more safely and more efficiently. I know in China, that's a big thing. They've actually really made some really good breakthroughs in the nuclear space. not in production though, and it's not out in the wild yet. It's just all theoretical. So getting past the theoretical to actually in production and using a lot more of this newer power sources is needed to really have that exponential growth up, because then we can use it. But those are the two limiting factors right now I see that prevents exponential growth, is data and power. We need both those things to really see that upward trajectory, and we just don't have them yet. And I don't know if we will. I don't know how you solve those two problems. They're two very long distance problems too. Not something you can do quickly. So yeah, I think 3 Mile Island is the one Microsoft's working to bring back. I think they paid out $1 billion to do that. There's some other ones that they're in talks about. But I mean, these are like 4, 5, 10-year projects for many of them. Some are 20 or 30 years out if they're just starting to break ground. So, you know, these are two big problems no one talks about too. The AI bros just completely omit those two major roadblocks to exponential growth. I mean, I think the only way you can get past some of this stuff is with efficiency. And I think there's still some efficiency to be had, obviously. Like you saw how DeepSeek hit the scene, and it was crazy efficient compared to the traditional models at the time. But I don't know how many more breakthroughs of that magnitude we can have before it's just like, hey, there's just nothing left. So that's kind of where you know, we have plenty of data. Rather, I think it's a huge issue of pruning low quality data. Yeah, Bill, you're probably right there. I agree with that. Specialized LLMs, train limited areas. This very, very much speaks to how like DeepSeek came on the scene and kind of modified things to where it would be more of a focused, limited section, so it could be much more efficient. So, yeah, that's totally there. And maybe quantum computers will make the breakthrough. There's a lot of ifs there, but this is all theoretical, what we just talked about. I just see the roadblocks as we see it today. So to say we're just going to keep going exponentially, man, there's a lot of roadblocks. Not to say we can't get around them, but those are the roadblocks I see right now as of today. And what we're doing here. Let's see. If you didn't see this discussion comment. Let's see what we got. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Well, that's odd. Why is it trying to do this with chocolatey? I want to say when we install it, shouldn't use chocolatey for the installer. Huh. Yeah, I remember at one time we were using chocolatey to repair the Winget, but I went back to repair Winget because of that. Oh, this is the fallback. Yeah. I tried to do a fallback to chocolatey. It looks like both of them are failing though. Yeah. How long ago was this? Last week. Huh. I think probably the solution here would be to do a forced install through... Because if you do it through the Microsoft Store and update the app installer, which is essentially Winget, it's fine. I think it's just we have to come up with a better way of repairing it. Instead of doing the attempt repair Winget package manager. If you go to PS Gallery too, where are we at? PS Gallery, and we look at repair Winget. So install module Microsoft Winget client. Let's do a blank install real fast. Chris should not be talking about AI as he is an expert. Bro, nobody's an expert in AI. I'm just saying my experience. Like, am I wrong? If so, let me know. You know? That's what I'm saying. I'm just showing, hey, let's try this. We got this new way of doing things. Let's give it a whirl. Here's the real world examples. Here's my experience. If it's beneficial to you, great. If it's not, hey, I get it. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm not a master of these things. I'm not a programmer. I'm a freaking YouTuber. That's why you watch me. I'm entertaining. That's it. That's how all of it is. Your experts don't talk to anybody online. They go do this shit. There is no expert online that's like, hey, there's this. Doesn't exist. To be expert or have a level of mastery, it requires years and years of things, and just they haven't been out long enough for anyone to be an expert or a master. That's my thing. We don't know. Agreed. And I did not say we did. I said, here's the problems I see. We have to overcome those problems. Will we? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. But here's the problems I'm running into today. This is how I'm using it. If there's a better way, let me know. Let's do that. And then move forward. That's all I'm saying. All right. Anyways, I think we're good here. Let's go. Let's do something Phoenix wants to do. Let's boot into Windows. He likes Windows. Do we have a stock Windows? Usually, let's see what snapshots we have. Do we have any snapshots? Ooh, no, this is not stock Windows. Let's do a MicroWin install, actually. Let's go. Nah, actually. Let's delete that Arch Linux. We're going to create a new one. Forward. Oh, God. You know, Jim. Of course, I'm going to leak my password again. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before I do. Oh, dude, I never deleted that, huh? All right. Oh, that's weird. You know what? Let's just... We're going to delete that as well. Create new, local. Let's go MicroWin. We have one from 08, 05. Oh, that's just a couple weeks ago. Windows 11. Let's go 12. Let's do 21. 128, sure. I don't know what that is. Whatever. We're rolling with it. Let's go 50. If we have a select, let's see. Oh, that is there. Let's delete that. Okay, cool. We had some old drives there. Let's create a new. Win 11 stock. Let's go MicroWin. Customize, finish. And we're gonna go 6 with 2 threads. All right, we probably should update the stream title now. MicroWin Tests is what we'll do. Let's see. MicroWin Tests update, and we'll update that. Update. Oops. Perfect. All right, cool. Look at me, got that going. Let's go. Did that go through? There it goes. Okay, I'm pretty sure it did. I am really digging the Linux utility too. That's just so much fun. I kind of want to do... I've been modding out some games directly on Linux lately. I kind of wanted to expand the gaming section to do mods. Specifically, like just setting up my mods for, like, God, I've been playing like Lord of the Rings Online. Then I had like Fallout 76. Like I pick old busted games. That's like my favorite because you got to kind of fix them up to make them usable. And I don't know why I'm like this, but I like picking old games that just suck for stock settings that require a ton of modification. And I'm like, I can probably make that better. And then working on it. So that's how I like to play games now. I don't know why, but it's where all my joy comes. When I'm on my off hours, I still kind of mess around a little bit. And I was just thinking to myself, man, I need to add this to Linux utility. I keep forgetting. I know no one's actually going to play those games probably, or I'm like one of the very few people that do play those busted games. But I think people could probably take the scripts that I make, modify them for their game, and then do like PRs with that. And then that way they could do their own game installers for probably games that people do play on Linux. I was thinking like maybe World of Warcraft and those types of things probably are more commonplace to where people want to mod those out, and we can make like just a one-shot script to do all the mod installs. Yeah, all dead games. That's like my jam. I don't know why. VirtualBox is bad and should never be used on Linux. Agreed. I hate VirtualBox. Maybe it's just the Oracle hate inside of me that just shows. I don't know. That's weird. It looks like this is... Oh, there it goes. Seems like it's pausing a little bit. Oh yeah, OptiScaler. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out. I know a lot of people have been talking about like the Steam Deck and doing lossless scaling through it. It's kind of like a new, I think even LTT covered it. The lossless scaling like freeware tool that's been on Linux forever. But also kind of shows how a lot of these graphics companies are cheating people. Being like, there's a 30% FPS jump. once we introduce lossless scaling and upscale from 1080p into 4K. And then, it's always something like that. It's like, ugh, dirty. I am watching this from my Steam Deck. Oh man, you got it docked? It sounds like you're typing too dang fast, Bill, to not have it docked with a keyboard. Unless you just, I don't know, thumbs of fury. Possible, but I'm gonna guess a dock. Yeah, it's my daily driver. Oh man, I can't wait for the Steam Deck 2. I have loved I got the OG Steam Deck on release, and initially I thought it was gonna be bad, and then I was like, my God, I love this. I use it every single day. It's amazing. You know what? I'm gonna push this to Workspace 2 now. Oh, how to break Hyper-V. Yeah. Hyper-V's got it's very quirky. I've always really liked, if you're talking about like headless virtualization, I've always really liked XCP-ng. It was a fork of Citrix's Zen server before they kind of closed source things. And XCP-ng is just so good. I love it. But Proxmox is also, like when you factor in Proxmox with the community scripts, if you need a non-headless setup, Proxmox is like my go-to. So if I'm actually going to be using the system that I'm installing Proxmox on and it's going to have a display, I always use Proxmox. So if I'm virtualizing and I'm using the host directly as like my main PC, I don't think you can really use anything but Proxmox. It just has so many quality of life features for that type of setup. But if it's just going in a rack somewhere, I prefer XCP-ng instead. I really like the headless versions of XCP-ng. So darn good. For the Proxmox box. Oh, yes. I kind of want to do another micro PC and just toss the host on that. So, I don't know. I'll probably wait till I get another micro PC. Maybe I'll reach out to B-Link. They've sent me a ton of crap. I'll be like, hey, B-Link, can you send me something with a ton of cores? Pretty please. Probably AMD based, I'm thinking. Yeah, for Proxmox for Home Lab, Enterprise, I go XCP-ng. Agreed, bud. That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, send me a Ryzen 3995 AI. I haven't seen the benches on those. I've heard good things, though. Yeah, Threadripper would be cool with Proxmox. The only reason I say kind of like a mini PC or a micro PC is I know it's going to be turned on like almost all the time. And I just prefer something that doesn't draw a bunch of power. So if you go with like a 1U rack, I didn't realize how much power like main servers draw per month. But my electric bill, when I had the 42U rack in the background of all my videos, for some of the OGs that remember that, I had 3 4U systems baked into that were running 24/7. My electric bill was $100 more than it is today per month. So I was spending almost $100 more every single month just in electricity cost from running those things 24/7 with my 24. And then you have the heat and also just noise. There's a lot to contend with there that I just didn't really think through when I put that 42U rack in the background. I was like, man, this would be cool. I'm a tech channel and we're going to do a big 42 rack and throw a bunch of cool servers in the background. And then immediately I was like, oh God, mistakes were made. What did I do? This was not good. It did look cool though. And I had like the screens. I did like a LCARS type screensaver. I had C Matrix for a little bit. I did a whole bunch of different stuff with it. And then I was like, nah. I could take those from the old videos, like virtualize them, and then just do my green screen, and then just toss them behind me again. No one would be the wiser. Just bring it back like the old days. Just find like a static shot where it just had the systems in the background, and then I could just toss it back in. And then I get the best of both worlds. Silent 42 rack. I still have all the space as soon as I just like got all that. I'm like, okay, cool. Got my chair, everything back there now instead of that, because now it's all right up here. I just did like a 12U wall mount rack with a glass case. So it's completely enclosed. It makes almost no sound. And then like all my stuff's right here. You got UPS, and then above that you have all the networking equipment. And then I piped all my audio stuff over to here, which you can't really see, but that's just a big power strip with some audio crap for the live streams that can just be shut down whenever. Doesn't need like a whole bunch of redundancy. Yeah. So I kind of like that. What green screen do you have? Some cheap one from Amazon. So you can buy, I think it was like $60. What does it say a brand? eMart. It's like S-Mart, but eMart. So I don't know. It was like $60. I just mounted that to some hooks on the ceiling, and then whenever I wanted a green screen, I just reach up, pull it down, instant green screen, and then when I need to not have a green screen, I can just snap it, throw it up, and then I'm done. Yep. Many times. I've actually moved it a bunch. So if you actually look at my ceiling, there's 6 different hooks because I've moved around this room so many times and had different shots. I've kind of settled on this one shot because I have one little tiny baby window in this room. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to set my computer up next to the window so I can look outside, and I'm never going to move it. And then I'm just going to keep the green screen. If I need to change the background, I'll just change it on the green screen. And that way I don't have to keep moving things around. And I've been pretty happy since I've done that. I haven't spending a bunch of time trying to do things that I don't need to do. Oh, God was asking $200 for their green screen. I mean, it's a green screen. Like, hell, some people just paint the wall green. So just go and be like, hey, the RGB values for this are 0, 2550. Just make that paint for me, Sherman-Williams. Thanks. Just need 1 gallon. Cost you about $40 for like the really good stuff. And then just paint your entire wall green. Done. Like, spending a bunch of money on a green screen seems kind of pointless to me. A lot of the things I've actually, as I used to spend more money on doing a lot of things, and I was just like, this is kind of pointless. I think I'm just gonna roll my own thing. And as soon as I started doing that, I felt a lot better because it's more personalized. Like all my desk I've made, all of my sound dampening stuff I made. I just did 1x4s with rock wool. Rock wool is really good for grabbing sound dampening, and then I wrapped it with fabric. There's some throwaway fabric I found, and I just wrapped that entire frame with that fabric. used a staple gun. So I spent maybe 40 bucks on all my sound dampening, 60 bucks on the green screen. And then my desk, that was actually a scrap piece of wood from, we had one thing I was trying to barricade off in the house, and then we finally got that fixed, so we had all this extra really nice piece of wood. And I was like, oh, you know what, I'll just carve that out into a desk. So I've actually made 2 desks with it. The first desk I made, I was too close to the wall, so I was having problems with my monitor. So then this was the second piece, and this one's quite a bit bigger, and it's further out from the wall. Man, it works great. I did such a good job on this desk. So that was pretty essentially free. So yeah, almost all my stuff now, I just try and build, because I don't know. The stuff you get in the store feels like it's just cheap crap that's overpriced. And then if you just build it yourself, I feel like you get a better deal. Why is this moving so slow? It seems like it's just like freezing up all the time. Did I do something wrong in the configuration of it? What's this look like? Memory. Yeah, I don't know. Seems wrong. Something seems off here. Yeah. Anyhow. Press Control, delete. It might be the tweak blood I referenced in the BR. 12 threads. I got 16 cores, 32 threads. I think it's still working, right? Let's see. I think it's fine. Yeah, this is I think I've had actually good luck with the 13th gen Intels. I know a lot of people have not. Some people have had them fry, overheat, and just go. So obviously, but I mean, as soon as that thing hit the market and everyone was saying they were having their chips overheat and fry, I pretty much updated my BIOS immediately. And I don't know, I've never had any problems with them. So they've been all right. I know AMD's really still gaining market share on Intel, which is actually kind of nice to see. I don't know, though. I still kind of... This is kind of a controversial thing to say, especially in today's day and age with Intel just screwing up with 13th gen, and I think it was 14th gen as well. I don't know. I still like Intel better. Maybe it's just like a bias I've had from the past 20 years of doing this, where Intel's just been on top for so long that I just still feel like Intel's more stable and reliable, even with the problems we've had with 13th and 14th, or people have had, not me personally. So I don't know. Every time I use AMD, it kind of feels a little jank. You know, you got the Aegis BIOS updates you got to do all the damn time. It just feels like the motherboards are a little bit more hacky, and there's just less I don't know what it is. And don't tell me Intel's terrible. I've hated them ever since like 5th generation, where I think they had like 2 different generations inside of that, where I had a motherboard go bad and I had to replace it. But the new motherboard, they changed the chipset, so you couldn't even use the same processor. So I was like, what the hell? Where AMD like at least keeps the same structure or same style for like 5 generations, which is insane. So like AMD's way better for the consumer, don't get me wrong. I don't know. So that's about it. Yeah, Battlefield. Battlefield with the whole secure boot and everything, I just kind of like, not really my thing. I guess I could play it on my inside PC. I still have Windows loaded up on it, but I don't think I want to. Yeah. AMD is updating tech so fast, updates are required. Intel isn't moving as fast. Agreed. Agreed 100%, Bill. I don't know. Again, my bias. I can tell you I have a bias towards Intel. I've just had better luck with them. Thank God I'm not a hardware review channel. I'd be absolutely burned at the stake. All right, this is too long. Do we have... Man, something's off with my virtual setup here. Did I do something? I changed something? Yeah, and I mean, the one I'm on right now is a Xeon chip, so. What's the workaround, Coding Wonders? I tried to launch a task manager. So. Let's just sign out, sign back in, I guess. Okay, yeah, weird. Okay. Probably something getting stuck there. Anyways, the whole reason I did this... Actually, let's power it off real fast. Oh, actually, before we do that... Okay, yeah, we're missing a few drivers. I'm gonna get the vert util... vert.io. Let's go guest drivers, releases, nothing. Okay, maybe there's a link in the README. There it is. Oh, God, I need to... So I always like kind of pound around to get this one link. I need to like hard link this. Because I always am searching for it. Anyways, let's install this. And then I'm going to shut down. We might do an update real fast too. Just to see. Okay, great. Let's resize to VM. There we go. Let's go snapshots. Let's create us a new snapshot. Call this one initial. Blank MW. All right, let's launch it again. Yeah. Probably won't troubleshoot the hanging just yet. I kind of want to just look at the repair winget, what's going on with it. So the idea behind this that I see repair winget. Yeah, so it's not there for a commandlet. So for the commandlet, you probably would go PS gallery. I want to say we got to do an import. We're probably just missing the import command. So should be something like this. So install module winget client. This should grab it. Then you'd say yes. And then yes, we'll just do an all. And then repair. Let's go repair winget. So repair winget package manager is there. And then if you do IRM christitus.com win IEX. Then we'll just do like a base install here just to test. Let's install something small. 7-zip would be pretty small. Should see winget out of date. Let's see what that looks like. Program needs to be installed. No password. Do a password here. Okay. 1, 2. Let's see what this does. Yeah, I think we do just a force install of the PS Gallery winget module. And then do a repair winget. And then it should work right out of the gate. Yeah, so the module's there, but it's just not loaded. It should be a pretty easy fix, actually. I'll probably just take something like that. Let's see. What do we have? Yeah, password prompt is a little funky, but yeah, this is all still good. So probably like an if statement for if module's already loaded. There should be a way to check that, but let's go repair winget. Okay. This system environment there, 24H2 and above, repair winget, else Windows version not supported for repair method. Probably would do if we look at this. How did we do that? I think you can do force and then also add probably do an error action, continue. I would imagine. So what that looks like. So I would say that would be the way to go. Before the... Frankly, I think we could probably get away with... I think 22H2 is actually probably would be fine. Is if we're importing from PS Gallery, shoot, I mean, you could go back to all the way up to like... I would never do this. You could all go back to 1807, actually, when it was introduced. So, I mean, that's shit, 5 years ago. No, that's even longer. That's like 8 years ago. But we're not going to go back that far. Supporting that would just, there'd be other host of issues. So, I would probably go with something like, yeah, let's go. Copy that. I'm going to leave it as is right now. Force error action continue. Yeah. Something like that would be what I would do. There we go. Well, thanks for that. You can reference the thing. I'll probably have to do like a dev release or something coming up soon. I'm not gonna make a dev release just for this one issue, but do appreciate you bringing that to my attention. All right, cool. Oh, how did you do it here? Oh, yeah. Probably doing this beforehand and then just doing a force would be enough. So yeah, probably doing set PS gallery. That would probably be good. The NuGet will go ahead and get taken care of automatically with the install module here. So the set PS repository is interesting though. PS gallery should already be there by default and trusted. But knowing Microsoft, they could just change shit on us at any time. So I would almost err on the side of it's probably best to add this command. Well, I don't think this is needed. Probably not a bad idea. As a Windows Pro, do you recommend automating domain trust repairs? What kind of error? Why is your domain trust getting errors? Like, are you talking about like replication errors or what are you running into? I don't know if I mean, you really shouldn't have any trust errors after it's properly set up. Sometimes though, I mean, sometimes like a branch office might fall offline for a little bit. And then you have like a sync that needs to happen from like NetDom. I don't know. Oh God, Debbie and Trixie. I need to try that out. Total Reach. I haven't even messed with it. A little bit late to the game on Debian. Debbie and Trixie. I need to give it another shot though. All right, cool. Well, we got some cool stuff done today. Looking at everything. I don't know on the context AI if it's that much better than prompting. We got to look at it a little bit, and I feel like it did a pretty decent job, but we never really had a successful test of anything and what it did with GIMP. We never did get it, I think. Did we? Shoot, I don't even remember. Did it ever get into save? Did the Python script ever work? I forgot to check. No, it never did. Well, good to know. So the whole context engineering, that's okay. I think there's a future there. I really do like the rules and stuff. I just worry about the token usage and just cost of it being prohibitive in the future, or possibly maybe spinning up your own local stuff. We probably still need to look at like Sonic and stealth models for coding. That'd be kind of cool. So maybe try that out a little bit next stream and see how Sonic does. And then WinGet problems with that. We should have addressed that. So on the next big update I do on the next dev release of WinGet or WinUtil, that should be fixed. And then probably also we need to look at, I kind of want to do some gaming install scripts. I know probably no one's going to care about that, but I do. So I kind of want to do that as well on some of the next streams too. So that should be fun. And if I ever get a new B-Link, or if there's another one, I think Geekum, whoever the hell that is, they reached out to me a couple times and wanted to send me some wacky looking micro PCs. So maybe on the next email they send me, I'll just be like, yeah, I'll cover it on the channel. Send me it over this way, and then we can do a Proxmox setup on it. That'd be such a wacky video to do, but man, I don't care. Sonic's model is trash. I kind of figured. Usually open source models are not nearly as good, but we can give it a shot. MicroWin, we just were doing just a base update on a new install on MicroWin. We were getting a hang up, which was that even put WinUtil. We have an open issue on that. Shouldn't. There might be a localization issue here, it looks like, in a foreign language. It's fine on a KVM. Update this mortal. Oh, actually, this looks like might look at that too. That's interesting. I haven't seen that one. We did run into an issue where it got stuck on startup though, and we just ended up logging out, logging back in. Control, delete, log out, sign out, and then log in, and it's fine. But I'd prefer that not to happen, so there's probably some sticking point there I need to look at. I don't see anything else in here though. I know MicroWin sometimes, it depends on persons. When someone tries to do like a MicroWin install on like a heavily modified Windows, it's going to bust. It's just, you don't have a really good image to go off of a lot of times. So a lot of people try and use like these custom ISOs and crap and then do MicroWin on top. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Just official Microsoft. That's it. Access denied on everything. What? Yeah, launch it as admin. How the hell do you not launch it as admin, though? I have an error check in there to auto relaunch as admin. Sus. He cut off his top bar that would show if it was admin or not. I could say admin, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know on that one. Kind of like, I don't know, you didn't do a full screenshot there. I'm gonna say you didn't launch it as admin correctly. A lot of people try and do this on like their work laptop where they have like just user privileges, and I'm like, bro, you can't modify your system like that. You ain't got any admin privileges. Anyways, it's kind of funny. Let's see. Oh, this was from the config. Huh. Yeah. The blockade fix. So is this line of code here? I probably would remove this and not string null or white space. That could throw things and completely omit. Probably delete that section. Maybe that would do it. I don't know. We could try it. We could try it some other time. Alright guys, I'm gonna shut her down for the day. What a good run. Did we get anything done today? I guess the MicroWin commit. Not my most productive day. But we did get to kind of try out open code. That was cool. I really liked open code. Windows corrupting SSDs I saw. Yeah, I know that got a bunch of press just because it was such a clickbaity kind of article. I have some, I don't know. I have a hard time believing a Windows update causes massive drive corruptions across the world. That just does not track. So I'm kind of still like, I never covered it. I never made a video. I know Jay's 2 Cents covered it, but I don't know. It just does not, it doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't seem like that would be a thing. So I didn't cover it because I'm just like, all I've seen is articles about it, and I've never heard any of my buddies that are in the industry talk about it. They go, oh yeah, we had all our servers corrupt, or we had this happen. I haven't seen any real world examples of it. So I kind of just think it's bullshit. That's like a really, really hot take. But I don't know. It just seems like clickbait to me. It's a great clickable title. I wanted to cover it, but to me, it just felt like bullshit. That's not true. As much as I love roasting Microsoft, you know me, I usually love to take every opportunity to roast Microsoft. But the whole Windows update ruining a bunch of SSDs, real sus. You know, I don't know. I until I actually see it, I just have a hard time of actually believing it. You know, it's like Santa Claus. Seeing is believing. No. The controller manufacturer says it's the thing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Who's the controller manufacturer? Someone links some shady controller manufacturer. I don't know. I just have a hard time believing that's a thing. I'm not saying it's wrong. It kind of looks like it. That's all I'm saying. I have a hard time believing it. Phison. Phison takes legal action over falsifies leaked documents on Windows SSD issues. Says it continues to investigate reports problem. Why just them, though? So this is falsified. And it's fictitious. Is this what everything was based off of? Industry-wide effects of these two, this potentially impacting storage devices, some including Phison. We understand the disruption may have caused. We are steadfast in committing bullshit. At the same time, the controllers that may have been affected are under review, and we're working with partners. We continue to provide updates. Okay. Interesting. So it called this statement, which was what most of the articles were built off, as falsified. But why? It's a fake document. There's more to this story than people are talking about. This just does not sit with me. It just does not. Something's just not adding up. That's why I haven't covered it. It's just. There's something there that someone's not mentioning. Yeah. I don't know. This is what I mean about the hang-up debugging. Let's see what you got. What's being added to your start menu there? First login? Anyways.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, actually, you know, I was kind of hesitant, Top Gun, to use Universal Wayland Session Manager with Hyperland, but as soon as I started using it with Hyperland, I don't think I'll ever go back. It's really good, really, really solid. I really like Universal Wayland Session Manager. It's been great. Yeah, MPV is amazing. If you're on Linux and you're using anything but MPV, I don't even know what you're doing with your life. Wasting it away. Some BS front end. Awful. If you want something pretty, you can do SM Player or Celluloid, sure. I'm not gonna throw shade your way on that, but I've said my piece. MPV is the best. If you want to ascend to new levels and use your computer the way it was meant to be used, you must use MPV. Otherwise, you're just a peasant that doesn't know any better. That's gonna probably die a slow, miserable, painful, alone death. Because you're just using VLC. People look at you and just go, oh, not even a real Linux user using VLC. What are they doing? Obviously, nothing with his life. Just terrible. Just the worst. VLC user. Gross. Yeah, just my thoughts. Oh man, so great. Yeah, MPV is the way to go though, and like, I just love it. So I even use something called Steam Link or Streamlink. I'm sorry, and what you can do is you plug that in with MPV. Use something called Steam Link. It's great. Or Streamlink. I'm sorry. And what you can do is you plug that in with MPV. Use something called. Anyways, it streams everything directly to your video, and it's freaking awesome. I absolutely love it. It's Chris's. More Chris's. So good. Oh, it's so beautiful. No, like, gross HTTP BS, vibe-coded BS nonsense from your web browser. Just pure, glorious MPV. Oh, so wonderful. I don't know how anybody does it without it. Just saying. I know, I'm just high-fiving myself. Now you know what I do in my free time. I just look at myself and then I pull up Streamlink and then I'm like, ah, you're so pretty looking. Oh yeah, you're the smartest guy ever. And then I just go back and forth with myself and be like, I know I am. Oh, so good. Yeah, why wouldn't you? Like, that's why you use Twitch, is for the IRC chat and the straight, pure RTSP streams. It's so good. Like, using a website. Oh, gross. Don't want to do that. I mean, I do appreciate the people that do it. Don't get me wrong, because that's how I make money. But for those that don't do it, I mean, I understand too. All right, guys. Well, we'll shut it down.